This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
Chapter 2. The Story of You and Yours. George Washington said, "Be courteous to all, but intimate with few, and let those be well tried before you give them your confidence." Our firm started out not much differently than many other real estate companies. My father, Dale, got into the real estate business after selling a small food manufacturing company in Pueblo, Colorado, that he had inherited from his father. For Dale, like many people, real estate seemed to be an ideal profession to go into after selling a business, particularly a wholesale food business, or retiring. He realized three major points about the real estate industry that were different from his experiences in the food business. Number one, when he sold the food manufacturing plant, he quickly realized that the biggest value and ROI, return on investment, was not in the equipment conveyed or the customer lists, but in the actual real estate on which the plant was located. Number two, in the food business, he was lucky to yield a 2 or 3% margin on each sale, whereas in the real estate business, his margins could be anywhere from 5 to 10% on each transaction. Number three, unlike in the food business, he did not have to buy his inventory before selling it. This meant that he needed far less capital to start and run the business, and he did not have to worry about buying right to avoid surpluses or shortages of things to sell. In real estate, he had the whole world to sell without buying any of it first. He was trained as a scientist, specifically a chemist, and believed in standard processes. He also hated waste and inefficiencies. So when he started in real estate as an agent, he was somewhat disillusioned that the only training he received from his broker and company was pretty much equivalent to this: here's your desk and here's your phone. Unfortunately, there are still companies today that have similar business and training philosophies. After a few years of selling real estate as an agent, my father was doing well. However, he wanted more. Pueblo's residents voted down some critical urban renewal projects that would have revitalized the city and would gradually have weaned its economy from steel production. So my parents decided to move the family to a place that was actually growing and would provide a bigger potential for his newfound real estate profession. As a result, we moved to Phoenix, Arizona in 1961, where the real estate market was just beginning to thrive as the city began its boom years of growth. He first joined a traditional brokerage, that is, one that split commissions with the agents on a 50-50 basis and used a traditional sales manager model, and experienced major issues with the company's inefficiencies. He was distressed to see how ineffectively advertising dollars were spent on new listings of houses and how the phone calls from prospective buyers and sellers were handled. In his opinion, the process known as floor time was a perfect example of how not to market real estate. Within this system, the person who knew the most about the property, the listing agent, would often not get the calls from the prospective buyers because the calls would be answered by the floor agent instead. In addition, the brokerage was paying for ads to generate the calls that then usually ended up being answered by someone unfamiliar with the property in the company and not typically by the listing agent. He left that company after the frustrations became too great and purchased an existing traditional company to run. He soon discovered that the generally accepted method of operating a real estate company had inherent reasons for failure, as follows. There was a recruiting-retention revolving door. The business model resulted in the top people subsidizing the less productive ones. Barriers to entering the business were too low. Inexperienced and unproductive agents often pulled the brokerage down financially. And the layers of management were too cumbersome and expensive. He studied those reasons, sold that company after only 8 months, and began a new revolutionary concept that changed the industry. In 1965, Dale invented the 100% commission concept, wherein the agent in the transaction received the entire commission amount rather than splitting it 50-50 with the company. Incorporating that radical business model, he launched Realty Executives in the Phoenix metropolitan market in October of that year. Under Dale's new model, the agents paid their broker a pro rata share of the company's operating costs, plus a management fee that served as the basic revenue and profits for the company. The company quickly grew, and in 7 years became the #1 real estate company in the Phoenix metropolitan market. It is consistently ranked in the top 20 brokerages in the United States and continues to lead the competition by a wide margin in productivity.